Riccardo Adami might just be feeling the heat after the Austrian Grand Prix, and not just from the Spielberg tarmac. The Ferrari race engineer is under fire for his now controversial box call that cut short Lewis Hamilton's second stint, despite the seven-time world champion's insistence that his tyres were still performing well. At the Austrian Grand Prix, Ferrari emerged as the best of the rest behind a dominant McLaren squad. Lewis Hamilton, starting from fourth, finished right where he began, a clean, largely untroubled race save for an early tussle with former teammate George Russell. But even with a solid launch off the line, Hamilton's Ferrari didn't have the firepower to take on the two McLarens. Lando Norris clinched victory ahead of Oscar Piastri, and it was evident that third was the absolute ceiling for Ferrari last afternoon. Hamilton extended his first stint with impressive tyre management, raising hopes that he could repeat the tactic later in the race. But on lap 51 of 70, against his own instincts and protests, he was called into the pits by race engineer Riccardo Adami. The decision sparked frustration from the seven-time world champion, who had just oversteered off track a lap earlier but insisted his tyres were fine. Hamilton's radio exchange during the Austrian Grand Prix offered a revealing glimpse into the internal friction brewing within the Ferrari garage. As the race entered its final third, Hamilton, managing his tyres expertly as he has so many times before, was hoping to extend his stint and possibly gain strategic ground. But just as he appeared to be settling into a rhythm, his race engineer Riccardo Adami came over the radio with a firm instruction: "We box now for fastest race, optimal race." Hamilton, clearly unconvinced by the timing of the call, responded calmly but firmly: "My tyres are okay. Can I extend? How many more laps left?" There was hesitation in his voice, not out of confusion but out of disbelief. He still felt in control of his car and didn't see the urgency in stopping. Adami then clarified: "Box this lap. There's 20 laps." The seven-time world champion, still not satisfied, countered once more: "I don't want to stop. There's 20 laps left." But the call was already final. Adami doubled down with a sharp box, leaving Hamilton no room to negotiate. It was a moment that encapsulated the ongoing growing pains in his new Ferrari chapter, where instincts built over 300 Grand Prix collide with a team still figuring out how to fully sync with a driver of his caliber. The exchange didn't escalate beyond that, but its tone spoke volumes. Hamilton's calm but persistent questioning showed his veteran awareness, while Adami's unwavering responses reflected a team still committed to a numbers-based strategy, even if it meant overriding one of the sport's most successful instincts. Given Hamilton's long-standing ability to stretch stints and extract performance, experts were quick to criticize Ferrari's strategy call. Still, Hamilton kept it professional post-race. "Great job, guys. What a great weekend and result for us. Really good job. I'm really proud of you. Let's keep pushing. I didn't really have the pace today. We need to figure that out. Thanks anyway," he told his team. But not everyone was so forgiving. Not only experts but fans' backlash brewed online, with comments ranging from "Ferrari needs some new strategy advisors" to "This communication between Ferrari and Hamilton needs to be resolved soon." One bluntly wrote, "At some point, Hamilton is going to start telling them they have no clue what they're doing." Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc grabbed third place, notching his fourth podium of the season. A sluggish getaway cost him any real shot at attacking the McLarens. Still, Ferrari locked out P3 and P4, a rare win in consistency, if not glory. For Hamilton, the Austrian Grand Prix marked his best result of the season, equaling earlier efforts and snapping a streak of races without a podium since the Las Vegas Grand Prix in 2023. Despite falling short of the rostrum, Hamilton did have reasons to be encouraged. He achieved his best qualifying position of the year, lining up on the second row alongside Oscar Piastri. He dodged disaster when a Kimi Antonelli-Max Verstappen clash nearly took him out, and later outpaced George Russell in a clean head-to-head. But the rest of his afternoon was spent in relative isolation, too fast for those behind, too slow for those ahead. Even after a solid weekend, Hamilton still voiced concern over Ferrari's updated floor. "I didn't really have the pace today," he said. Ferrari had rushed the update to Austria hoping for gains, and while Hamilton dismissed it as minor, the results hinted otherwise. Ferrari had jumped both Red Bull and Mercedes in race pace. Post-race, Adami responded, "The pace was there, I think. Many things to manage, but we'll go through everything together and we'll push." Once again, Ferrari's SF25 cars found themselves hampered by a recurring problem: the need for repeated lift and coast management throughout the Austrian Grand Prix. Both Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc were visibly impacted during the opening stint, with Hamilton losing half a second per lap and Leclerc dropping 7/10 to the front runners, largely due to constant lift and coast instructions relayed from the pit wall. This technique, often used to control temperature buildup and fuel consumption, ultimately cost the team valuable valuable performance early in the race. One of the most evident limitations of the SF25 was its lack of front-end grip, especially noticeable in medium-speed corners. Hamilton in particular struggled with a car that simply wouldn't rotate properly. The understeer he encountered mid-corner eventually transitioned into oversteer on exit, making the car unstable and unpredictable just when precision was most needed. The problems were compounded by the intense heat radiating from the Spielberg track surface, which created a difficult balancing act between keeping the engine and brakes cool enough to perform. To manage this, both Ferrari drivers were instructed to lift earlier before braking zones, relying first on engine braking and only then applying the actual brakes. While this method did help reduce the overall heat generated by the braking system, it also robbed them of precious straight-line performance and braking confidence. Despite these issues, Ferrari still recorded their strongest result of the 2025 season so far at Spielberg. The new floor upgrade, pushed hard for by both drivers, did offer some improvement in overall performance. However, the gap to McLaren remains significant, largely due to Ferrari's ongoing issues with downforce balance and tyre degradation. A deeper look at Leclerc's race reveals an average loss of 0.27 seconds per lap in race trim, particularly in the first stint where he had already fallen 15 seconds behind Lando Norris. One of the critical weaknesses remains Ferrari's poor thermal efficiency, partly rooted in a front brake duct that fails to effectively dissipate heat. Ferrari's deputy team principal, Jerome D'Ambrosio, stepping in for Frederic Vasseur over the weekend, acknowledged this issue post-race. It's now becoming a recurring theme. When forced into conservative strategies to manage temperature, Ferrari inadvertently limits the performance ceiling of the SF25. Until that changes, the team's ability to fight McLaren will remain stunted. Speaking to Sky Sports F1, Lewis Hamilton opened up about the key challenge he needs to address to turn his 2025 Ferrari season around. "From my side, I was definitely struggling with the balance during the race," he admitted. "I just couldn't hang on to the pace and ended up losing a bit too much ground." Reflecting on the handling issues, Hamilton added, "It's something I know I need to work on. There was a lot of understeer in the low-speed corners, and then quite a bit of oversteer in the high-speed sections. It's a really tough balance to manage over the course of a race." Statistically, Hamilton now sits 6th in the Drivers' Championship with 91 points. His teammate Leclerc extended his lead over him to 28 points, still winless this season, but clearly more at ease with the machinery. Hamilton, on the other hand, has only the sprint race victory in China to celebrate so far. With Silverstone next on the calendar, Hamilton knows the clock is ticking. The British Grand Prix is more than a home race. It's a golden opportunity to finally stand on the podium as a Ferrari driver. Do you think Ferrari made the right call by forcing Hamilton to pit? Or should they have trusted his instincts and let him go long? And more importantly, can Ferrari ever truly unlock Hamilton's potential with strategies like this? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.